This is the Automotive Repair Podcast Network.
Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z. I'm Matt Fonsla, and it's kind of weird to quote a movie when I'm going to talk about a movie. I don't know. Maybe we'll skip it on this one. Okay. Yo, Adrian. There. That and more after a word from our sponsor. NAPA Autotech Training and Pico Technology. For 98 years, the NAPA name has meant quality parts and service. It also reflects top quality training programs to help you build a more successful vehicle repair business. No doubt, the technician shortage is impacting everyone, but you're not facing this battle alone. NAPA has the solution by making NAPA Autotech training available near you. NAPA Autotech provides automotive aftermarket technicians career development opportunities through structured, disciplined, measured, and high-quality technical instruction, no matter the technician or service advisor's skill level. This instruction enhances understanding of vehicle systems, increases first-time repair capability, and overall customer satisfaction. This instruction enhances understanding of vehicle systems, increases first-time repair capability, and overall customer satisfaction. It also prepares technicians to become ASE certified. It's a fact technicians who receive training to improve their knowledge and skills have a higher sense of job satisfaction. This reduces technician turnover and increases productivity, directly improving a shop's profitability. It is vital to the success of a shop's business that today's technicians are equipped to diagnose and repair today's complex vehicles. With our ever-changing technology, the technician's knowledge and skills need to be updated and refreshed on a regular basis. As you labor over the decision of whether to send your techs to get their skills sharpened, keep in mind, NAPA Autotech training is an investment, not an expense, and it's available to all. Much of NAPA Autotech's training is offered in more than one format to accommodate varieties of learning styles and training preferences so each person can maximize their learning. Whether you're more of a hands-on person or enjoy learning at your own pace, NAPA Autotech is here to provide you with the training you need in the format that works best for you. To learn more about what NAPA Autotech offers, contact napaautotech.com. So my youngest son was going after me a little bit, or bugging me, not really going after me, bugging me about wanting to watch, of all movies, Rocky. I don't know where he got the idea. Honestly, I don't know where he would have seen it. I suppose maybe it's popping up on Netflix. Maybe he watched a trailer. Maybe he'd heard references to it. We do have a poster of Rocky from Rocky Balboa where he talks about nothing hits as hard as life. And that's something we talk about a fair bit, or it's part of our world, I guess, that, yeah, it's not about, how many hits you can deal out. It's how many, life is going to keep hitting you, right? And that's not the point of this episode, but how many hits can you take and keep moving forward, and that's how winning's done. And it just speaks to a lot of things in our world. Speaking specifically of, mine and Danielle's and kids and families and all that. And I don't suspect it's a whole lot different than anyone else's, maybe certain different hurdles, but everybody's got them, except maybe Scott Manna. Anyways, he's pressing me because he wants to watch this movie. And I'm thinking, you're 11. This is a slow-paced movie. There's not a ton of action. Not that they're totally into a lot of, quality dialogue, stuff like that. So I'm thinking he's just going to be bored to death or leave or fall asleep. But no, he watches it. We watch it together, and I've seen it before, but like a lot of times when you watch things a few times, and I have not watched Rocky that often. This is maybe, third, fourth time. Maybe third. I'm not seeing it a lot. there's a scene that resonates much differently nowadays than it did when I first saw the movie. And I'm not sure I even recognized it. I guess got to give credit where credit's due. I was aware of thinking about it from a comedian, Louis C.K. had made reference to it in an interview he did. And so I was paying attention, and honestly, it does. It hits different. It resonates differently. And it's not, in the, meat locker punching. It's not running up the steps, music blaring. It's actually, well, before I go there, if you've seen the movie, who won the fight? And so few people don't know. Or I should say, so few people know who won the fight. They almost assume Rocky did. He didn't win the fight. And the coolest part about it is the night before, he visits the venue, he's walking around the neighborhood. Yeah, he's now with Adrian, who becomes his wife. And he's, presumably it's very, very late or very early in the morning. He sits on the edge of the bed and he says, I can't do it. I can't beat Apollo. I'm not even in the same league as this man. Who am I kidding? Think about that. The biggest fight of your life. I can't win. I can't beat him. And unlike, I think, what we get fed a lot of nowadays, just the super supportiveness, the super optimism, Adrian doesn't respond with, oh, yes, you can. Oh, you've been training so hard. Oh my God. I've seen you fight. I've seen you, succeed, and you'll figure a way. You'll find a way. I just know it. And that's a lot of movies nowadays. That's a lot of shows nowadays. That's a lot of stories. That's not what she does. She doesn't blow a bunch of smoke up his tail. Some of this I'm quoting a Louis C.K.'s interview. But she really doesn't go overly optimistic. She asks a very reasonable question. What do we do? That's kind of cool, right? What do we do? I don't know how often that happens. Like, I don't know if we ever go to our significant others or our really good friends or whatever and say something to that, a tune of something of that. Like, I don't know if I can pull this off. Oh, yes, you can. I believe in you. No. Well, then what do we do? That's pretty cool. We could do that in so many situations, professionally, privately, or socially, in our relationships. What could we do? What do we do? What could I do? What could I do to help? That's kind of a interesting take, right? That's not normal. I never noticed that. What do we do? It's not rah, rah, rah. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or, buckle down, or focus, or your energy. If you don't think positively, you'll bring this negative energy into your world and it'll manifest itself. Or keep telling yourself you're going to lose and it'll be just a self-fulfilling prophecy. And okay, that stuff's real, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the truth. I can't do this. I won't be able to do this. I can't come out on top. What do we do? What can we do? And in the movie, he's laying there like he doesn't know. He says, I don't know. But then he starts talking like, if I can go the distance, if I can still be standing when that final bell goes off, after, is it 12 rounds? Maybe it was 15, but I think it was 12. If I can still be standing, then I'll know I'm not just this bum from the neighborhood. That will be that will be my win. I really like that. I really like that because we can set up our own successes. And I guess I don't mean that to just set the bar so low, but honestly, I guess if we're building towards something, that's kind of the advice we get, is to form realistic goals and keep building on those. So really, I don't know how reasonable his goal was, but that was his goal. If I can do that, if I can just go the distance and be standing at the end, that'll be a big win for me, right? If I can just, right now I'm starting out, I struggle to bill 20 hours a week. if I can just start billing 25 hours, if I can just start billing 30 hours, what would that take? 2 more hours a day. Where can I find those 2 hours? And of course, there's got to be certain things. The work has to be there. Why aren't you billing 30 hours right now? But is it too much in your head? Overthinking things, doing things wildly inefficiently, where you have your tablet or your laptop or a printout and you're literally going step 1, go do step 1, go look at step 2, go do step 2, right? Is stuff like that. Like, is it reasonable that I can find ways to be more productive, more efficient, economy of motion? Then will this translate to an extra hour a day, 5 hours a week? I'm doing 20. Now I'm up to 25. Does that become a reasonable goal? It's achievable. It's a big win, because you're going to have to hit 25 to be able to do 30, 35, 40, whatever's deemed reasonable or deemed the goal where you're working. What's wrong with that? Or a different goal of, I'm going to start using my oscilloscope. I'm uncomfortable with it. And when I finally break it out, it's with a really messed up car that we have no idea what's wrong with it. We just don't know what to do. And now we're busting out the scope, hoping it leads us to the repair. And yet I'm not using it that often. I'm not that comfortable with it. I don't feel very competent with it. And now when I need it, I may not be up to the task. So as a reasonable goal, I'm going to start using my scope. Maybe whenever I would use my voltmeter or whenever I would use my test light or both, I'm going to also have my scope hooked up. And I'm going to start looking at voltage first. And I'm going to mess around with time. I'm going to just try to get an idea, get a feel for this time thing. I'm looking at voltage over time. And then after a while, I don't need to use the meter anymore, at least for volts. I'm getting a little bit stronger with it. Now I'm going to add something like the scope, maybe, presumably. Maybe you have a U scope and it's single channel, and that's fine. That's a great start. Maybe I got 2 channels. Maybe I have 4 channels. Maybe I have 8 channels. When I look at stuff, I'm going to add a second channel. And maybe we have a low amp probe, and I'm going to look at low amps along with voltage, especially in circuits that would lend themselves well to this test. If I'm looking at a CAN network, maybe I don't have my low amp probe around one of the, CAN low or CAN high. But if I'm looking at actuators, I really should. Why not? Just add another angle, another perspective. And maybe I just watch how they kind of work together or react, if you will. Those are reasonable goals. Those are big wins. Maybe you can say like, wow, I use the scope every day, 5 days in a row. I use the scope. Let's see if I can keep this up 10 days in a row, right? Or at least I'm using it far more often than I used to. Why can't that be a big win? It seems like a really smart move. Same with like if you went to a Zeb Beard class at Vision or at Asta, thermal imager, try to remember to just use that thing. Just grab it. Even if it doesn't seem reasonable, just look at stuff with it. I'm inspecting brakes on this car. I drove it a little bit, test drove it. Just thermal image, just rip out the thermal imager. I got this, noise when the, wheel bearing type noise, right? Changes with weight shift. Get back to the shop, just whip out the thermal imager. Just see what's there. Maybe on another car that doesn't have a problem, look at it. Kind of get an idea of like, there is a little bit of disparity side to side, but it's not a lot. It's nothing like what was on this car that was bad. Why can't those be wins? We don't set the wins up to be like that. The wins are, I figured the car out. Or, I succeeded in repairing it. And that's not nothing. Of course, that's what the ultimate goal is. But why aren't we setting wins and I don't know, lower the bar isn't right. It's not logical. You're not doing that, but you're setting it up within a step of a process. It's a long-term process. You're thinking about down the road, what tools or what techniques or what avenues can I use or take that down the road could lead me where I need to go better, like, more accurately, faster. And those two can be mutually exclusive. It takes longer to do this, but I will have a higher confidence level in the diagnosis or the, almost prognosis. What would be wrong with that? It's just not something we see or talk about. It's always, this car is just killing us, and we finally broke down and busted out the scope. We finally broke down and busted out the borescope. We finally broke down and busted out the thermal imager. We finally broke down and just took the car, or whatever part apart, all the way apart, or way dove into it, visually inspected. Why can't the wins be somewhere on the spectrum before that? I don't know if spectrum's quite the right term, really, though. It's really somewhere in the process that's a little bit of a deviation from the normal path you would have taken. That's probably more reasonable. I think that's a more accurate description of what we're talking about here. And I just love that. I love that with the movie. And having my kid rewatch that scene. I don't know if it means anything to him. I don't know if it'll resonate with him. I hope so. Because I think, as many of you know, or if you hang out on Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z Facebook page, that he plays guitar. He's pretty darn good. He's really good. And yet his success, what he deems successful, is really, I don't want to say impossible. It's got to be so close to perfection. And I think I've talked about that before, where that drive for perfection sometimes is good, but also you really limit yourself to either instances or moments of contentment, being content or joy and feeling accomplished, feeling pride. And that's, I guess, what I would really like him to avoid. Is I would like him to feel proud of himself for achieving goals, I guess, self-assigned goals, to feel pride in that. Not that they have to be so low, but not so astronomical high. And I think from even a shop management perspective, we see that with, if I could get my production numbers up to this, we're so fixated on benchmarks instead of continual improvement. Maybe what's good for your shop isn't what the benchmark is. Maybe it's much higher. Maybe it's a little lower. Maybe it's a lot lower, depending on what we're talking about. But getting better and having good goals. Like, maybe right now your production is about 60%. People that are there for 40 hours a week, they're really billing a little over 30 hours. Or people that are there for 40 hours a week are really only billing a little over 20 hours, right? That's not what many would say is very good. But then why immediately is, I got to get these people up to 40. I got to get it up to 100%. So-and-so is at 125%. So-and-so is at 150%. Why not set the goal to be 25, 30 hours? Or production levels pushing past 70%. What is it going to take to get to 70? It's probably not just motivational speeches. It's probably not just threats. It's probably not a new incentive program, although the incentive program will probably temporarily work. And depending on what the program is currently, it might be semi-permanent, depending. There's a lot of depends going on there with this analogy or example. But to start really pushing into the potential of what the shop is, why can't you set the goals and be very proud and feeling like you have wins, proving to yourself you're not just some bum. That's along the way to whatever's the ultimate success. And I guess to me, that's really powerful. I guess it goes a little more hand in hand with the last episode, more so than I was originally thinking it would. Because I was really just kind of pumped about the message that we can define our own successes. It doesn't have to be everybody else's. It doesn't have to be Joe Blow on some social media group or even a coach, right? If you hire a coach, I'm guessing they're going to set goals along the way, achievable goals to work your way up, I would think. But we also get to set our own, and probably should. Yeah. So I guess hopefully that's good food for thought. And hopefully if you get bored or you're just trying to figure out what to watch some night, maybe grab Rocky and pay attention to some of the more subtle scenes, the quieter scenes, the ones without the big blaring music. Even though, I mean, that is inspirational and all the things. But yeah, check out Rocky. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to our sponsors, NAPA Autotech Training and Pico Technology. Thank you to the Automotive Repair Podcast Network for really making this all possible. And if you like these types of episodes or you want to hear other types of episodes, there's topics you'd like me to cover or you'd like to come on and talk about something with me, please don't hesitate to shoot off an email, mattfonslapodcast@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook. You can shoot me an instant message. I know a few of you have sent some very, very nice messages and emails concerning the last podcast with I hope you're proud of yourself. And I'm proud of you. I really am. I don't mean that to be some BS statement, but I would hope you can be proud of yourself. I find I say that a lot more than other things for, to be supportive is like, I hope you're proud of yourself. And I don't mean that like my parents sometimes would say like, I hope you're proud of yourself. Genuinely, I hope that when you do something good that you allow yourself to feel good about it. And it's a good thing to learn to be proud of yourself. And so those messages mean a lot. I'm not alone. You're not alone. Again, thank you so much. And until next time, take care.